Good morning, coolest coast. It is time for Coffee with Kristin and Tina. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Kristin and Tina. We're your hosts this morning. Oh, look at Kristin. My camera is reversed again.
You have to fix it.
Yes.
Look at her coolest coast is not right.
Okay, stand by. Stay tuned. Here we go. Fixing
Oh,
it.
it's fixed. This makes me wonder if mine is does mine look backwards?
Yours looks like I'm used to seeing it, and that's backwards.
It is so weird we can do that in the live. Like, I saw yours flip right before my very eyes.
We're having a new kind of fun today. Woohoo! Coolest coast.
The
Good
thing
morning,
is,
coolest coast.
I don't know what this means, but I didn't notice.
Oh, well, so you're paying attention to the more important things, that means.
Oh. Like, even when you guys were talking about my office being backwards, I'm like, it looks fine to me. This is how it always looks. This is where I live. No big deal. Maybe.
The reason I think yours is the way it should be is because the word manager on that book behind you is readable, right? Just like coolest coast is now readable over my shoulder.
So if I switch it, does it go backwards then?
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
So this is Kristin Odell of KLO. I'm Tina Prigge of Vagabond Creative Studio. Good morning. Thank you to Just Orthodontics for waking us up with this great cup of coffee this morning and sponsoring our show.
I know. And I need it today. It feels like fall. It is I don't think it's actually that cold, but the wind today off the lake is redonkulous.
It's a completely different day than it was yesterday.
Bring back the sun.
Yeah.
Bring back the warmth. Last night we had opening season for my 2 little girls. They had softball last night, and I think you might have a picture. Yeah, so this is my Josie girl pitching, and then Nora's catching down on the bottom.
Oh my
So,
God, that's cool. Do they play well together? Like, are they a good team?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're only like 13 months apart, so they're pretty good buddies most of the time. I mean, they'll punch and kick each other every now and then, but
Well, last night would have been such a beautiful opening night. And you know what, Kristin, you shared a quote that goes along really well with this. Let's talk about this.
do you think it is? I feel like some people are gonna be irritated by this, but okay, this is the quote. By the way, I'm going to give total credit. I saw this on Instagram from thecoachesjournal.com. Yeah, it says uncoachable kids become unemployable adults. Let your kids get used to someone being tough on them. That's life. So my initial instinct is like, yeah, because that's just kind of who I am. But then my second thought was like, this is really about being a good teammate, being coachable, cheering other people on. Like, really, that's what makes somebody, because I work in HR, employable. Like, employable people are, they contribute, they work hard, they're part of a team, they support other people, like that kind of stuff. So, what do you
Right.
think?
Yeah, they have to be able to take direction. I think where the quote maybe gets strange, right, is when it says being tough. And it's not even that you have to be tough on them,
Mhm.
but like uncoachable means not being a team player, right? Like not doing what's expected of you, not fulfilling your role. And yeah, those are all serious detriments as a person goes through life.
Right. It's a problem. And I have just to like validate, like, does this exist? Yes, this does exist. Um, I've seen this online, but like there were videos on Instagram I watched where like a kid got called out at home plate or the catcher did something that he wasn't supposed to do. And the catcher like ripped his helmet off, threw it on the field, threw his glove on the field, is like yelling at the ref. And I'm like, this is so not okay. Like,
Right.
it's a lack of respect for somebody older than him. It's a lack of respect for that being an umpire. Like, so somebody in a hierarchy position, like there are times where you need to oblige to a person that is higher ranking than you. And yeah, how is that kid going to ever be successful and he's throwing an absolute fit on a field?
It's part of civilized society, right? If you're going to be part of a team, you have to be a team player. And it goes for not only employing somebody, but even if you become the employer yourself, if you're the boss, you can't have that sort of, crappy treating people not right, not part of a team attitude, right?
Well, you can. but it's gonna make your life a lot more difficult, right? Because retaining employees, having success is much more difficult when you're an a-hole. But yeah, I can tell you from experience,
Yeah.
right? Using and abusing people doesn't, it only lasts for so long.
Right. If there is any return on investment, it is fleeting and not lasting, and in the end won't really benefit you, right? Like it almost ends up as being like ill-gotten gains.
Right. Right. One of the things that was so cool last night is there was in the last inning some just really, really good plays between the pitcher and the first base girl. And my Josie girl was playing second. And every time they made a play and the girl at first caught, she ran over and gave her a high five and then ran back to her spot. So I told her last night, like, I'm really proud of you for being a cheerleader and like encouraging them. She had nothing to do with the play, but she was just, giving them the like, you did awesome. I'm like, we need to do that more often.
I love that. I love knowing that attitude, and because that also makes it more fun, right? It makes it more fun for her to be there. Definitely makes it more fun for the other players. It like lifts the esprit de corps of everyone there.
Right.
More Josie girl.
Who doesn't want to get a high five?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they had fun, but yeah, it was a beautiful night. Mary, I agree.
Mhm.
Last night, I mean, I had a hoodie on last night at the game. I know, guys, this is what this is how I live. Free advertising for CrossFit Manitowoc today, by the way. Um, but it was such a peaceful, like comfortable night at the Ball Diamonds. We were there until like 8:15. Just it felt like summer.
Yeah, it was the first night that I got to sit on the back porch and just be and, like, look at the flowering trees. Can we talk about all of the flowering trees for a second?
I
I'm just
was
in love with that.
I was just gonna say, so you have some amazing pictures. You guys, Tina is an amazing photographer. I don't know if you know this about her, but you sent me these last night, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." Okay, put them up.
Thanks, okay. So, this is a flowering crab. This tree just, blows my mind every year. It, like, has this thick coat of these beautiful, delicate pink flowers. So that's one, and then the lilac, oh my gosh. So not only is the lilac just this beautiful little lavender color, but the scent. I didn't even notice it growing at first, and I was walking by and the scent like tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "Hey." I was like, "What? Oh, the lilacs."
Oh,
Um,
I
and
love
then
that.
this is an apple tree that's blossoming, and like, look at that little delicate pink right there on
Right?
those petals.
It's beautiful. These are beautiful pictures.
Thank you. And I've just noticed driving around through the city and even the back roads of the country, there are so many trees that are flowering right now. It's like this explosion of beauty that I could live in this season, except for the cold windiness today.
Right. Yeah, there's just a little apple orchard on County Road CR just south of like Faith Church and Festival. And every one of their apple trees has these big, beautiful white blossoms on it. It's just so pretty.
Yeah. Mary said she loves the smells in the air this time of year. Gorgeous pictures. Thanks. Thanks, Mary. And she also says, I love standing underneath those and smelling them and listen to the bees humming.
Yeah, last weekend, one day we were out in the yard and this like big old fat bumblebee just kind of like cruised through. And I was like, oh man, I love it so much.
And the birds too. I've heard so many different kinds of birds.
Yeah, somebody was just talking about, and I don't know what it is, an app where you can record the sound and then it'll tell you what kind of bird it is. Or
That's
it might show you then a picture so then you can like visually match it, but you can like listen to the call and then it will tell you.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, if whoever knows this app and is watching, put it in the chat because that is something I would love to know.
I can find out. I remember who it was. I can find out what the app is if somebody
Okay.
else doesn't have one.
Okay, that's cool. So, okay, Mary said she pet a bumblebee once. I'm not sure how that worked, but she said it was cool. She said they're fuzzy and cute.
They,
That's
they are fuzzy and cute for sure.
Mary, would you pet a chuckling?
It's a good question. You guys, so I was up very early this morning. I kind of like was dreaming and my alarm went off and then I was like awake, like, wait, I was dreaming. It's just like one of those weird things. So I had a few extra minutes and I saw this. So Woodland Dunes is in Two Rivers right off of Highway 310. They have an amazing facility. If you've never been out there, they have a beautiful nature center and hiking trails and you can watch birds there. Just, it's very cool, very interactive, especially for little kids. But look at 8 chucklings roaming the yard of the nature center. A normal litter size is 2 to 6, and they have 8.
Wow. I love the term chuckling. I've never heard that before, and it just is so adorable.
Yeah, they are very cute. I didn't know. So Tina and I looked this up right before we got on the show. But it says baby woodchucks are often called pups or kits. So that is similar to a fox.
A fox, yep.
A baby fox is typically called a kit. But it says this is like a website, willywilderness.org. It says, but we think everyone can agree that the cutest name for a baby woodchuck is a chuckling.
Yeah, I totally agree. A chuckling. So how much wood could these chucklings chuck if these chucklings could chuck wood?
You did that really well. I don't think my brain was already hurting listening to you get that out.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
I love it. That would be fine. It's the chucklings, I think.
Mm, yeah.
For some reason, I don't know if you ever do this, but like every now and then I'll see a bird and it'll be like, oh, that reminds me of my grandma's zipper. Oh, that like there's just certain things. For whatever reason, when I see woodchucks, I think of Doug's pawpaw, his grandpa on his maternal grandfather. He was like a short, stocky guy. And I swear when I see woodchucks, I'm like, that was pawpaw saying hi to me.
Aw,
Isn't that funny?
pawpaw chuckling. Yeah, that's cool.
Does anybody else do that? Do you ever have that where you're seeing it feels like a little spirit animal visiting you?
I'm trying to think before I say yes. I feel like it's a yes.
That was the funniest face.
I definitely think that seeing animals sometimes do remind me of someone, but of certain people, but I'm not sure.
You're like, does it feel like a visitation?
Right, right. No, not necessarily, which that's disappointing.
I'm sorry.
Although,
Mary said she does.
although, speaking of visitations, so last week, you guys, we were talking about Stanley Tucci, right? Because I was apparently face blind to Stanley Tucci, and there's another actor that I think is Stanley Tucci, and apparently it's not. So Facebook was obviously listening because since then, guess what's been showing up in my feed? There's a Stanley Tucci here, a Stanley Tucci there. Well, this showed up in my Facebook feed. And so now I'm confident that Facebook was listening because look I'm not the only person that can't tell who Stanley Tucci is. And so what's funny about this is these are two different posts by other people that say, I thought Stanley Tucci was just a really good actor. And today I learned that Mark Strong is a completely different person. So that's the person that I thought was Stanley Tucci too, right? Mark Strong. It's a completely different person.
I feel like the only real Stanley Tucci in all of these pictures is the upper left corner.
Well, what's funny is when I look at this, I don't know which one is Stanley Tucci now.
Will the real Stanley Tucci please stand up? Please stand up. Please stand up.
So that's the one downside of this post, right? Is they didn't identify which one is Mark and which one is Stanley.
The bottom one is tough. Like I feel like the bottom one both look like Mark Strong and not Stanley Tucci.
Mm.
Was Stanley Tucci in Sex and the City?
I've never seen that show. Not even one episode.
I
know. I don't know how I missed it. It totally missed that era.
You got to go back and watch it. It's so good.
Okay.
Tina, you're so worldly. I can't believe you haven't.
Well, in a way, that was part of the problem. Things that were really popular when I was out of the country, I missed that fad. I missed that trend. I missed that era because I was immersed in whatever was popular, where I was.
You were immersed in camels and Japanese culture and probably much cooler things.
Yeah, J-pop bands, things like that. What's funny is Green Day got popular while I was gone, right? And so Green Day's not really on my radar. And my son just can't believe that. He's like, Mom, this song is Green Day. How do you not know that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know who Stanley Tucci is.
I'm impressed that Teeks likes Green Day.
I know. His musical appreciation is super eclectic. So last night we were sitting down to eat dinner and all of a sudden Bing Crosby started playing. I'm like, where did this come from? He's like, oh, I just put that on. I'm like, Okay, that's totally cool. Like, to go from Bing Crosby to Green Day to, the other day he was listening to Black Sabbath. I'm like, this is so diverse.
Was it Bing Crosby Christmas?
He tried to play a Christmas song at first. I'm like, nope, nope, nope. So then he played, is it like Swinging on the Stars or something? Or like,
This is way before I was born.
I know it, and you would know the song if you heard it, but
I'm sure Bing Crosby has other music besides Christmas music.
oh
I just
yeah,
feel like that is
yeah.
the
I
jam.
think we best know him probably for Christmas.
That is correct. That is
So,
correct. So fun.
okay.
It's not
Yeah,
surprising to me that Teak has an extensive and wide variety of music choices given how cool you and Jason are.
that's such a nice thing to say. Thank you, Kristen.
He's a cool
Mwah.
he's a cool
It's
kid because you guys are so cool.
it's funny though because he doesn't exactly like the same choices of music that I like. I think he probably leans maybe more towards Jason's choices. Um,
Right, but
but
you've inspired him to, like, listen to different things, I think, right? Like, you transcend, like, the symphony and art theater and you know what I mean? So, when kids get introduced to that, even though they may not be listening to what you are, they're like, "Ooh, I can explore music."
oh yeah,
Sense?
that is a cool perspective. I like that.
You're
Hey,
welcome.
speaking of Sex in the City, Mary said Sex in the City is the reason that she likes the cosmopolitan drink.
I can understand why, Mary. The Cosmopolitan was, like, the drink. They're, like, in New York, dinner, drinks out. Tina, you gotta go back and watch it. Maybe we should have, like, a girls' night marathon where we just binge because we talked about this. I think we talked about this in person, actually, like, not being able to just watch normal television now, having to, like, do it in the binge fashion because 'cause we're too impatient.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, think about it. If binging had existed when we were young, we would have been all over that too, right? Like it's painful when you watch one episode and then you have to like wait for a week, to get the next installment.
Right.
I love binging. And the fact that it's available now, I almost can't go back. Like
Yeah.
I'd rather wait until a whole series drops or finishes rather than picking up right when it starts because I
You just
just
you need the instant gratification of watching the next episode.
yeah, it's easier to keep up with the story too, don't you think?
I don't know. I used to like I can distinctly remember well, we talked in person about Friday night TGIF, like Family Matters and what was the other show? Jenny had the name of it. But like Steve Urkel was on. There were all these great shows on Friday night. This is years ago. And then when I was like probably high school, definitely college, Friends and ER and Grey's Anatomy,
Mm.
like those shows were on Thursday nights. And so Will and Grace was always on. And so we would sit down like Thursday nights were the night we'd like do dinner and like hang out to watch TV. So it was like a thing to do together where now I feel like people just binge by themselves.
Yeah, you're right. It's not as momentous, and it doesn't, um it doesn't bring society together in the same way, right? So back in the day, like on a big Thursday night when there was a show, the next day, like around the water cooler or whatever, people are like, "Oh, did you see what Ross did? Did you blah, blah,
Yes.
blah?" Yeah,
Right. Can you believe that's how the season ended, right? Which
right.
there's some of that, but I feel like we're not all experiencing it at the same time, so it's a little bit less social.
Right, right, right. You have to start with, "Did you see The Mandalorian? Like, what season are you in?" You know?
Watching it,
Right, right. "Did you give
all
up? Did
all the
you"
more reason that we should pick maybe this is a good next winter thing because I don't really watch a lot of TV in the summer. Next winter, when we get into the deep of not having anything to do,
You just shut your mouth about winter.
you and I will get together and we'll binge Sex in the City.
Okay,
There's a lot of seasons, though.
okay. Fun, fun. I reserve the right to tap out, though.
Fine.
I'll binge the first season for sure. Um,
I don't think you'll tap out.
okay,
I
cool.
think you'll love it.
Um, it reminds me of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. A friend, like, back in the day was like, "You have to watch it, it's the greatest show," and I was like, but I did, and we binged the entire thing, and it was great, so I'm
I've
in.
never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It's been a long time, so don't take my recommendation now. I mean, I was much, much younger when this occurred, but I just remember that thinking, binging a whole show, like what?
Those were the days.
Hey, speaking of winter, so
I thought we were not allowed to speak about winter.
just in case people need socks, I just wanted to point out. So these say owner of the world's cutest cat, Gritty Badger, just opened a pop-up shop adjacent to Vagabond Creative Studio. It's Emily Howe's venture, and she's got all of this like fun stuff, and it's like fun gifty kind of stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
socks. She's got a Coolest Coast roast coffee. She's got all these coasters. I was just Mary said, "Stop swearing." She's got all these hilarious coasters. Like, there's one coaster and it says, "Really? That's the sperm that won?" They just have all these hilarious messages, and then she's got a whole room, and it's called like the Gritty Room, and it says, "Caution, dirty socks," right? And so, like in there, everything's just a little punched up.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys know Emily, she is a hoot. She loves to swear, first of all. And she speaks straight from the heart. There's no filter with that woman, which is one thing I love and appreciate about her. But we tried to go there on Friday, and she was not available. It was not open on Friday. But we stalked and looked in the windows instead, and it looked really, really cute. So yes, go check it out.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I just love knowing that cool people are doing cool things.
Well, I love that, like, you guys are kind of sharing your building, and that, it's just kind of there's just something fun about that.
Thanks. Hey, speaking of fun, I love your segues, Kristen. You are like masterful at segueing us through this
I
show.
don't
Did
even
you know
do it
that?
on purpose.
You guys, isn't Kristen the master? I think that's what the red M stands for on your sweatshirt, by the way.
Oh, man.
But yeah, speaking of fun, we were talking about the cute chucklings. We were talking about fun. This is Skamp the Monkey. And I know we've kind of talked about him before, but I just want people to know that there's something exciting that is launching this Friday. So Healthiest Manitowoc County, Substance Use Prevention, and the Coolest Coast collaborated, and we put together this youth resource hub portal that's on the Coolest Coast website, right? And if you go to the Youth Resource Hub, it has access to all of these different resources, whether it's academic, basic needs, relationships, childcare, diversity, health, dental, mental health, mentoring, parenting, youth activities, all of these things that we could find throughout the county that are youth facing and or relevant to guardians and caretakers and parents that have youth, right? All under one umbrella. And if there's something that's not there that should be, let us know. It's not on purpose. It's just because we didn't know, and we want it to be all inclusive. But so, in order to promote this and get people used to it, Healthiest Manitowoc County is sponsoring a "Where is Scamp? Monkeying Around the Coolest Coast." And the reason I'm telling you guys this is because you can win prizes just by playing. So there's two different options. There's this online kind of like a scavenger hunt form, but by scavenger hunt, it's literally all within the Youth Resource Hub. So there are two forms. The reason there's two is you can choose whichever works better for you. Some people love the Google environment. Some people just want the web form. So whichever one works. Choose one. I think it's like 10 questions, and it'll say like, it might say like, how many submarines were built in Manitowoc during World War II? And so if you like go to the Maritime Museum page, you'll find something kind of like this with fun facts, and the answer will be there, right? So you submit those, and then look at this. I'm just so excited. Like, there's all these fun prizes. So you can get prizes from Farm Wisconsin, Strand Adventure, RAR West, Leicester Library, Maritime Museum. There's a lot more. And as long as you have all the answers right, you get one of these cool prizes. But wait, there's more. Check out what's on the right. If so around town at some different agencies and things, there'll be this huge poster. There's one right now at Vagabond Creative Studio, just for a hint, just in case you need to find one. All you have to do is find two of these posters around town, take a selfie, and then submit it, and someone will be drawn for $200. I don't know if it's a gift card or if it's just $200 cash, but how cool is that?
It's really, really cool. Okay, so I want to back up
Yeah.
and just ask, because I think this was like a COVID thing, but Who is Scamp the Monkey?
Oh, that's a great question. So, okay, this little guy has been with me since I was in Japan. I got him as a gift, and I just started traveling all around with him. He's not very big and he's pretty light. And it was great to be able to take him and pose him and then take photos of landmarks and things like that. And it was a great way to kind of break the ice. Especially if there wasn't somebody else to talk to, I might be able to walk up to a local and say, "Hey, this is my monkey. You want to hold him and I'll take your photo?" Like, it's hard to say no, right? And it's cute and it's non-threatening and all of that, right? So I started doing that. So we've got pictures of Scamp like all over the world doing cool things. Well, then we realized, yeah, what a great way to promote some of the fun things on the coolest coast, to show that the coolest coast is kid friendly, right? Talking about the whole youth resource hub. The monkey, it's just so cute. And if you see him enjoying someplace, it's easy for anyone to think I could enjoy that place too, right? Look, he's road weary, he's worn, he's got stitches on his head. This is like an every man, every woman monkey, right?
I love it. Yeah, he looks like he's been on lots of adventures, but he's still very happy about it.
Yeah. And he loves it when there's other like stuffies to meet, right? So if some other business or organization or person has stuffies, he loves taking
Okay.
pictures of them.
Have you ever considered a Scamp meet and greet?
What a fun idea. That's a fun idea.
Just saying, maybe kids could come and get their pictures taken.
That's a fun idea. I love it.
Okay, so we'll make sure the links to those programs are in the chat.
Yes,
Okay.
and it goes live on Friday, so you can
Okay.
start Friday morning. And I think you do want to start sooner than later because the prizes are first come, first serve.
Okay.
So I don't know how many, for example, Healthiest Manitowoc County, I don't know how many Farm Wisconsin prizes they have, but if those
Nice.
get chosen first, then they'll be used up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, good. So we'll make sure all the links are in there. The program starts on Friday. You can start participating right away. Good morning, Wendy. Um, and if you have questions, can they message Coolest Coast or is Healthiest Manitowoc a good place? Where do you think people should go if they have questions?
Oh, yeah. You know what? If they have questions, you can send them to info@coolestcoast.com.
Okay.
And if it's a question better answered by Healthiest Manitowoc County, we'll get you connected.
Yeah. Awesome. So what a fun program for the kids for the summer. I know Manitowoc Public Library, I think Leicester Public Library, they are doing summer reading programs as well as a lot of schools wrap up. Yeah, you had the logo. This is so cool. I didn't even plan that. Um, yeah, the summer
If you
reading,
notice too, I have all of my summer reading past participation pins on.
I did notice that you had your pins on. But go sign up. Like these are such fun programs at the library, and they do give kids prizes away and stuff for participating.
Right. Weekly
Um,
prizes. I mean, it's great.
let's be honest, it's just like super good for everybody to keep reading over the summer and kind of, even if it's fun reading, like keeping their little brains working during the summer is such a fun thing. And my girls, even at the ages they're at, they still love going to the library.
Yeah. Even my teen still likes going to the library, which I'm just like thrilled about.
Yeah, I think I still have a hard time, like when you read a description on like a Kindle, picking a book versus like being able to look at it in person.
Yeah.
It's something different. I prefer holding a book. So
I do too. And I have certain aesthetics that I want in a book. Like sometimes if I pick up a book and it just doesn't, like, I'll pass on reading that version of it if it doesn't feel nice.
so
I don't know. I don't know what the description is, but
books also have a smell.
right.
Paper has a smell that I
Right.
enjoy. I know
Right.
that sounds so weird, but
Well, this has
hey,
been too fun. All right, folks, we need to know if now that we've talked about Stanley Tucci, if your Facebook is listening and you start getting Stanley Tucci'd, we want to know.
I did not get Stanley Tucci over the last week, but that
Oh.
doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. So,
Super fun. All right. Thanks everybody so much for watching. Kristin, delightful starting this Wednesday with you and sharing it with you viewers. You've been watching Coffee with Kristin and Tina, and we will see you next time.
yeah, everyone have a safe and fabulous Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, that's right. Enjoy the holiday. Bye, everyone.